Hey, Dan with Guardian Mold Prevent here. I wanted to take a look at two attic spaces. The first one is in Park Ridge, Illinois. The second one is in Bolingbrook, Illinois. The first attic we're looking at here is in Park Ridge. As you can see, we're looking at the eastern exposure of the roof. The plywood looks fairly clean. We don't see any mold growing on the rafters. This is a hip roof, and so as we come around the corner or past the hip in the roof, you're going to notice that there's a lot of mold growth on the plywood sheeting and some even on the rafters. The reason for this is that this house has some upper ventilation issues. We're not getting a lot of cold air being drawn up into the attic space during the winter, so there's some warm air there. The warm air is reaching the ice-cold roofing members, reaching dew point, condensating, and then we've got mold growth. But the question then is left, why does the northern exposure have so much growth and the other areas of the attic do not? The answer for that is that the sun comes up in the morning, it comes across the house, it rises in the east, it comes across the eastern exposure, the southern exposure, it sets in the west, but it never warms up the northern exposure of the roof. And so what happens is that plywood stays wettest the longest, and because of that, there are definitely mold growth issues. Now, as we come around the corner, you're going to notice that on the opposite exposure here, again, the plywood is clean. We have no mold growth whatsoever. Now, the second piece is a house that's in Bolingbrook, Illinois. There's a very specific purpose I wanted to show this piece, and that is if you look closely, you can see that the plywood and the rafters are actually soaking wet in this attic space. And there is some mold growth. It's white, speckled mold. It's just getting developed. But the reason that this attic is so wet right now is because the homeowner ran a humidifier on their furnace at 50% for several weeks. And so because they have energy efficient windows and doors, what happens is that moisture gets directed right up into the attic space. And so when we inspected this attic, everything up there was very wet.